What's going on, guys? This is the review tube, and today we're gonna take a look at the Beast Kingdom Batman Begins figure. Let's get him out on the table, get him out of the box, and let the review begin. Now here we have Batman out on the table, and this figure is absolutely amazing. I would almost call it perfect. Now, let's take a look at this guy. He has an incredible, and I mean 10 out of 10, Batman Begins head sculpt. Like, if you have the Hot Toys one, like, that was a dumpster fire. It is a freaking masterpiece compared to that one. I'm gonna show some comparisons here. I'm gonna probably put the picture here of the Hot Toys one. But this figure is absolutely amazing in terms of sculpting. So, if you want a really good Batman Begins figure, then definitely get this one. This is leagues better than the Dark Knight figure that I've just reviewed. So, by the way, if you haven't seen that video, check it out. But this figure is the top of the game. Absolutely Beast Kingdom's masterpiece. Now, let's dive a bit deeper into this guy because he is honestly amazing. First of all, let's go over articulation, and then I'm going to talk about the sculpting in detail. Articulation is very similar to the Dark Knight Batman figure that I've just reviewed. He doesn't have the shoulder pads. He has the shoulder pads integrated into the shoulders themselves, so you won't have the problem as you did with the Dark Knight figure that they are on floppy hinges, so they won't stick out if you pose his arms forward. So that is an extreme plus compared to that figure. Otherwise, his shoulders are very articulated. You can pull off some very impressive poses with him. He has a double bend at the elbows, and also he has a bicep swivel. So that is pretty standard stuff, but it's really nice. And the joints are really smooth. So they are not stiff. You don't have to put it in hot water to loosen the joints. It articulates great out of the box, so that is a really big plus. To the wrists, it has a pretty standard wrist articulation, just like the Dark Knight figure. It can move this way, and it can do 360 as well. So you're gonna have no problem with the wrist articulation either. Now, I skipped out on the head because the head itself doesn't have very much articulation, but that is fine because in the movie he was very limited. You know, the cowl and the neck are one piece, just as it was in the movie, so that is accurate. But there is some freedom to this whole cowl piece. So as you can see, it's offset right now, so you can move it, but he can't really look up. It's better to just keep it in the center and pose around the chest piece and the torso. To get him into those poses, you don't really have to move the neck. It is accurate as it is. This is how it was in the movie, so I'm not complaining about that. So, the chest piece, it is more limited than the Dark Knight figure, but you can still have him in a variety of poses with this chest piece. It can do a 360, so, but it can't move back as much. It can move forward pretty well, in my opinion. Now the torso piece, it has a fair amount of articulation. You can still pull off some poses with this torso articulation as well. You combine the two, you can get creative. It's not gonna be a problem. Now legs, I'm gonna be a bit more careful showing off the leg articulation, especially at the hips, because I just broke my Dark Knight figure right after filming that review. So yeah, be careful because these ball joints are not very secure, and the plastic is really crappy and weak, brittle, so be careful. But let's see the split. He can almost do a full split. That is really nice. And he also has these drop down legs that I've showed in my Dark Knight review. So you can get some pretty nice range of motion out of these. but be really careful with the hips. They break really easily, so be careful, please, because with my Dark Knight figure, I'm trying to fix it right now, and it is really hard to fix this joint. Like, just be careful with it. But yeah, it generally has a nice hip articulation. He has a double bend at the knees. It can almost go full way. And he also has these really sturdy ankle joints, and of course toe articulation. Very nice ankle pivot as well. You're gonna have no problem posing him. He's gonna hold his own. You can pull off some nice dynamic poses. As in the last video, I'm gonna show some nice poses with this guy at the end of the video, so stay tuned. Yeah, that's all about articulation in my opinion. I think I've gone over everything. Now let me glaze this head sculpt a bit more. So I'm gonna show it right here in more detail. This cowl piece goes back into a triangle down to his back. It is really nice. It is menacing. It is just like it was in the movie, and I can definitely see Christian Bale in this likeness. It is really nice. The eyes are painted with a glossy finish, so it adds realism to the figure. It is really nice. It has a nice skin tone too, so it is just absolutely perfect in my opinion. We haven't really gotten a really 10 out of 10 Batman Begins head sculpt. We've gotten some pretty nice Dark Knight figures, but Batman Begins doesn't really get the love it really deserves, and I've absolutely got a soft spot for this suit. It is absolutely amazing. He looks much more menacing than he does in the Dark Knight, so I really like that. Now, paint and sculpt. I've already glazed the head, so I'm not going to talk about that anymore. Just know that it's amazing. Now, the sculpt work, I think it is absolutely impeccable. Like, it is really accurate to the movie. I have no negatives to say about the sculpt. The proportions are really nice too. I think it just really came together really nicely. It's just a great figure. I can't really say any negatives about the sculpt. If you look at his belt, it is painted really nicely. Like, you don't have much paint on this guy because his suit was really just matte black in the movie. Like, they didn't have to paint anything apart from the face and the belt, but the belt is painted really nicely. You're gonna have no problems with that either. And he even has these little mini batarangs sculpted into his belt, so that's really nice. And yeah, that's basically all about the sculpt and paint. Now, one thing I haven't mentioned is the cape. The cape is huge. Like, you can do this classic Batman pose where he has his body all covered up with the cape, and it is wired, so you can pull off some really dynamic poses where he has his cape behind him flopping around. It's really nice, but it is a bit too big. So if you're not having him in this pose where he has his body all covered up, you're gonna have to fuss around with it a little bit because it can get in the way a bit much. Basically, that's the only real negative I can mention about this figure, is the cape is a bit too big. But you can mess around with it. You can get over that, and you can have him with the cape back over his shoulders. So that is basically all about the figure itself. Let's take a look at the accessories. Now, he doesn't have all the accessories that the Dark Knight Batman had. He has fists that are included with the figure. He doesn't have any paint job applied to the hands because, again, in the movie they were just simply black. Now, let's start with the relaxed hands. They are pretty standard. It's just a really neutral hand pose. He also has these little dots on his palm, so that is a really nice detail they added. He has the grappling gun holding hand. He has a pair of everything, and the grappling gun fits in his hand, again, perfectly. It is really good. And he has these batarang holding hands, and he can hold his batarangs perfectly, again. Now, he can also hold the grenade in his grappling gun holding hand. So yeah, these are just the basics. I guess these are most of the gadgets that he used in Batman Begins. They really didn't need to include anything else. But yeah, I think these are a sufficient amount of accessories. They didn't really have to include more. I'm fine with this. You can be really creative with these accessories. So yeah, basically that's all I wanted to say about this figure. If you've been waiting for a really good Batman Begins figure, you must get this. Like, McFarlane just came out with a Batman Begins figure, but that is not a great option. It is not that accurate. This one is absolutely amazing. It is really accurate. The head sculpt is impeccable again. It is way better than Hot Toys. It is just a really menacing look, and it perfectly captures the essence of the suit from Batman Begins. So guys, this was my review, and I'm gonna show some poses, and thanks for tuning in. Like, sub, comment, and thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Oh yeah, and this is my personal collection, so if any of you guys want to see a review of any of these figures, tell me in the comments and I will make a review of the figures. So yeah, thanks for watching again.